4 driving skills for life. Winter driving tips for teens and adults.
When there's ice and snow, take it slow. Take it slow when accelerating and decelerating.
Adjust for bad road conditions by allowing more stopping distance, up to 8 or 10 seconds for stopping distance. That includes all vehicles, even 4-wheel drive. Turn your headlights on.
Keep your cruise control off.
Keep your gas tank full.
Make sure you have plenty of windshield fluid.
Learn more useful driving skills for life by going to www.drivingskillsforlife.com.
3. Driving is a skill we need to always be improving.
3.
4 driving skills for life helps you do that. The 4 areas of 4 driving skills for life are
3. Hazard recognition.
3.
Vehicle handling.
Space management and speed management. Just remember HVSS. Sit back, relax, and learn how hazardous recognition can prevent an accident for you.
A hazard is any difficult or dangerous driving situation. We've already seen there are all sorts of hazards to watch out for when you're driving. We're going to look at some of the more dangerous hazards, intersections, and distractions, and find out what you can do to spot hazards before they turn into trouble.
Here's the #1 hazard you can expect to see every time you take to the road. In fact, you can't avoid it. Intersection. 25% of American driving fatalities occur at intersections, and there are about 600,000 injury-producing crashes at intersections each year. That's why, to get through intersections safely, you need the know-how to spot hazards and react safely. Let's start with approaching an intersection. First thing to do, check for a traffic signal. If you see a stop sign, you know you're going to stop. Same thing if you see a red or yellow light. But what if the light is green? You know it could turn yellow at any second, and you don't want to risk getting caught in an intersection. So what are you supposed to do? It's a tricky problem. So when you're approaching a green light, get into the habit of asking yourself, if it changes now, will I stop or go? The answer depends partly on the traffic behind you. So keep checking to be sure you can stop without getting rear-ended. As you get closer to the green light, you'll eventually come to a point where you've gone too far to stop safely. That's called the point of no return. We passed the point of no return for this intersection, so we cruise on through. With practice, you'll be able to find the point of no return in any intersection, and you'll learn how it can change depending on traffic and driving conditions.
Okay, we talked about approaching intersections. Now let's look at the intersection itself. When you're in an intersection, you should always scan for trouble. It's just like looking both ways before you cross the street. Scan left, center, right, before you enter the danger zone. Scan left because a driver coming from that direction would hit you first. Scan the center for a vehicle stopped ahead of you or turning left toward you. Scan right for a driver turning right on red. Remember, left, center, right. Whether you're alone at the intersection or in a line of traffic, don't count on the other guy to watch out for you. When you're in the danger zone, you need to be in control.
And here's a tip for handling one of the biggest hazards at intersections, left turn. Watch.
Turning left at an intersection takes planning, positioning, and patience. It's a high-risk maneuver that's involved in more than 60% of intersection crash injuries, so you want to get it right. First, planning. As you approach the intersection, check for lane and traffic control signs. Then turn on your left turn signal and steer into the turning lane. Now get in position for a safe left turn. When you move into the intersection, wait just past the crosswalk, like this, and keep your wheels straight. That way you won't be pushed into the oncoming traffic if someone rear-ends you. Last, be patient. Don't try to dash through a gap in the traffic. Remember, you can always wait until the light turns yellow and make your turn once the oncoming traffic is stopped. And while you're waiting, always check to your left and make sure the street you're turning onto is clear. No pedestrians in the crosswalk, no other vehicles blocking your path. Planning, positioning, and patience. That's the way to make a safe left turn.
Okay, we've seen how intersections are full of hazards. Now, let's look at a type of hazard that hits closer to home. Distractions. Here's an example. Get the idea? Anything that can cause you to take your eyes off the road is a potential hazard. And the risk is even greater if you're a beginning driver. That's what the experts learned at Ford Vertex Labs, where they use an advanced driving simulator to study distractions.
Many people have thought that because teenagers just grow up with cell phones, that they're so used to it and they're so good at it, that it isn't really as much of a problem for them as it is for adults when they drive. And we found from our research that that just isn't true. More than half the time that something dramatic and potentially dangerous happens in front of them in traffic, they don't see it while they're dialing a handheld phone.
Bottom line, the tests show that cell phones are a dangerous distraction when you're driving, no matter how much experience you have on the road. And it's not just cell phones. You can be distracted by the CD player, the radio, the food you're eating, even a friend, especially a friend.
Studies show that just one passenger doubles your chances of a fatal crash. With 2 or more passengers, the risk is 5 times higher.
But remember,
you can control these types of hazards.
Turn off your cell phone. You can always check for messages later.
Don't fiddle with the radio or fumble with a fresh CD.
And don't eat food when you're driving. And don't let your passengers distract you.
Not even a friend.
Because it could be the end of a beautiful friendship.
So that leaves us with hazards that can pop up anywhere. And you've already seen there are plenty of them out there. It takes real skill to handle a hazard-filled stretch of road like this one. To start with, you have to maintain a safety zone around your vehicle. That's the space you need to stop or steer away from trouble. In this vehicle, traveling at 30 miles per hour, it takes about 33 feet to stop. Here's the same vehicle traveling at 60 miles per hour. Now it takes nearly 114 feet to stop. In other words, at twice the speed, you need a safety zone almost 4 times larger. Spotting hazards before they pop up in your safety zone takes skill, concentration, and practice. Just watch.
When you're behind the wheel, you have to scan the road constantly, moving your eyes every couple of seconds to glance ahead, behind, and side to side. Eye movement is important because you can't really recognize a hazard until you glance directly at it, and you can't afford to take your eyes off the safety zone in front of you for more than a second. With practice, you'll learn to focus your glance on trouble spots that could suddenly turn into hazards. For example, parked cars that might pull away from the curb or open a door, road signs and traffic signals that change the flow of traffic, other drivers maneuvering around you or changing speed, driveways from which a car or truck might come backing out. But remember, you have to spot hazards before they pop up in your safety zone. That means using what's called minimum eye lead time to open up your scanning range. On city streets, you should be scanning 12 to 15 seconds ahead. That's about a city block. We'll have more on this later when we talk about safe following distances. At highway speeds, open it up to 20 or 30 seconds down the road. And whatever your speed, stay alert, because hazards can pop up anywhere.
Okay, so let's review. We looked at the skills you need to avoid hazards at intersections. And we looked at the common sense skills you can use to avoid hazardous distractions. Then we saw how scanning skills can help you spot hazards before they turn into real trouble. You can learn more about all these skills at the website and test your hazard recognition know-how with our online quiz.
But to develop real-world skills, you need real-world experience. So plan to practice hazard recognition the next time you're on the road.
That way, you won't be the one saying, "I never even saw it coming."